Good morning. It's quiet and a cloudy morning today. But I've actually been doing stuff and observing nature as I have my coffee this morning. So what do I want to talk about today? Let's back up. I'm looking at this and kind of deciding as I start planting in here, and I'm little by little going through here. That's going to be for my seeds. And then I'm going to plant, I've got zucchini down there, and I'm contemplating on taking out my celery. It's doing so well, but now I see it's going to seed. So I don't need to juice celery with seed. I've got celery there. I think I'm going to go ahead and have plants on the bottom. I like that. As well as catch some water. We're in a drought. We're in a really bad drought. So I'm going to go ahead and catch some water in a couple of those blue ones because of the shape. I'll show you. I love the shape of these buckets. See, and you can pour them. So I can pour them into a watering can very easily, or just walk through and do all the totes that way too. Just go through and just pour through. So I'm going to have probably a couple of them catching water, and then the rest I am going to put plants. Probably like garlic chives, and I've got a strawberry down there. Oh, strawberries. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this I don't need. So I'll probably end up juicing some of this the way I juice. I don't have a juicer. I love the way I juice. And if you want to know, let me know and I'll tell you how I do it. I do it differently than my old videos, actually. Probably get rid of that. I don't need the celery seeds. Celery comes up like weeds here. Any place there's celery seeds, they fall, they come up. They may come up right away. They may sit dormant for a long time. And this one's going to go to seed anyways. I think I'll keep that one. Got a couple leeks back here growing. See, there's some leeks back there. Keep that one. This is a 2 system I'm going to move. And see their roots? Oh, there are some earthworms down there. You see them moving around, see? But they've really taken over. That's one thing about celery. Keep that in mind. If you want to grow something like squash, you really don't want celery because they do have a big root system and they'll be fighting against each other. If you put celery in a pot and then sit it on top, they will send their roots out and they will get into your tote, which is okay, but the point is they'll be fighting with your squash. So think of celery as not so much a heavy feeder, but as a big plant, even though they may look small. Kind of just keep that in mind. I do put celery around, so don't worry about it. I'm just kind of giving you a warning on that. Walking onions send out a root system too, but nothing like celery. So anyways, I am thinking of changing this up a little bit. So there'll be like catch water there and maybe catch water there, and I might catch some more water there, I'm not sure. We are going through a big drought. So there's going to be a lot of water shortages and how much we can water and different things. So my totes having the holes 1 to 2 inches up, think of an underground river. It's got water all the time on the bottom. So even though it may seem dry, the plants can send their roots to the bottom of these totes. You could do that in flower pots. But the problem is you'll have to start with something that has no holes. So buckets, you can do that too. You can put the holes up a little bit if you're in an area that's not going to have a lot of water and rain and you have water restrictions. So you always have water in there. So I don't have to water every single day. Let's see. So what was funny today? Oh, I'm sitting here having coffee. And let me show you the little clip I did while I'm sitting here because this is a lot of fun. Who's eating my strawberries? Oh, a little brat. Somebody's been going through and taking a bite out of each strawberry. Look at this. The problem is he's eating the strawberries and then he's going back and looking for insects. That's a toey. He's right next to me. He doesn't care. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, he said, you yell at me? I'll go back and eat some more strawberries. Oh, now he's going to go back and get his food that I left out for him. How lovely. We got a little bite here. I was wondering who was doing it. And a little bite here. The bites. There was another one I saw. Let me see if I can turn this. I could have sworn there was another one. Nope, maybe it was just those two. Wait a minute. Nope, see? A little bite there. He missed this one. Oh, it's not ripe. Why should he eat that one? It's not ripe. And we're back to the, let's see. Okay, somebody took a few little bites out of this one. Yep, that's been him. So I may have to, I could cover that with tulle. That would stop that right now. Even if you make little bits of tulle, I'm not going to worry about that. I'll have a lot of strawberries. He comes in here and they're eating the insects off. They're looking for insects. And that's what that little thing was doing. So now I know who has been taking a bite out of the strawberries. Now that's easy. I could take little bits of tulle and wrap it around and he would just skip over it and go somewhere else. But yep, we now know, you and me, this was this morning, know exactly who's taking one little bite. The other thing I did this morning is, you know, if you've watched some of the past videos recently, that I had all those watermelon I bought, about one container that ended up with 15 watermelon in there. You know, they're all still doing good. My daughter's got some. It's too early for us for watermelon here in Southern California, zone 10A, because we're still too cold at night. Watermelon likes it really, really warm, the plant. We do much better, I have found, exactly where I'm living. Everybody's different. If you plant him more in the middle, or you could start him in June, but get him outside by the beginning of July. That's when our nights are warm, and then we end up harvesting watermelon end of August into September, October, we're harvesting watermelon. But I'm trying to trick Mother Nature. So you'll see how I planted it in one spot, moved it, and we'll see, because I can see already the difference on the ones I've planted. So I'll drop that in. I like doing little clips sometimes while I'm having coffee and just enjoying nature. Now I planted this watermelon here. I thought it would give a two system in here and do it with the squash. The problem is that watermelon's not doing well. And the other one I planted up against the wall in a warmer area is doing much better. See how wimpy it is? It's really struggling. So I'm going to move this watermelon to the other side of the yard up against the wall and see how it does. So we'll see in the next few days how it does. So here's where I transplanted just now the watermelon. It's still in the paper cup. I put some wood chips around it. It's got the warmth of the wall, and it does have two squash. This is just squash that came up from last year. It's a hybrid zucchini. Oh, they've been wonderful. If that takes off and does well, I may just chop one or both of these out. I can put a two system in the center so they could grow, but the main thing right now is to see if it makes the move, because where it was before, it was just simply too cold for the watermelon this time of the year. So let's see how it goes in the next few days. And the other thing I'm going to do right now is I've got these hoods, and I'm not going to put it on the right way, just kind of sit it there. And what this hood is going to do is just give it a windbreak, because I want to make sure the plants aren't touching too much of the hood. They're starting to get big. And this will give a windbreak to the watermelon that's back there. See, it's not touching the watermelon. It's open. I could turn it the other way, but I want it to go towards the wall. So we'll just kind of leave it this way for now. And I can always put a clothespin if I want to and hold it here. But right now it's not windy, so I'm just going to leave it. So that's basically it. Just kind of thinking about how I want to set things up. So this I should have set up anytime. Here I can start seeds inside. And there are no roly-polies. Watch, I'll walk over it. They'll be all over. This is potting soil. Though I did put earthworms in here. There are leaves on the bottom. See, some leaves are poking up, because this is going to build the soil. But what I'm actually going to do, okay, good, no roly-polies, is I'm going to start seeds in here, and they'll be in their own containers. Why is there soil in there? It keeps the temperature perfect. And then I can put one of my tops on top that I make out of the tote lids. Keep everything out like that little toey, but start seeds in here. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to harden them up. They'll be outside already. This is a light green. So by having it a light green like that, the light can filter through. It works perfect. I did it last year. I had everything. And then the problem was something, oh, look at the little earthworm came to the top. Let's kind of push you over. The problem is some seeds got in here, or I planted them off to the side thinking I'd remember. They grew. I didn't have any place to put them, so I had a lot of stuff growing in it this year. Last year, I mean. So now I'm just going to start seeds in that. And this, I'm going to kind of decide what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of, I know, the broccoli. I'm going to move it. I'm going to compost all the seeds. And I think there's been some stuff coming up. Oh yeah, there's baby plants back there. I'm going to move them so I can get really serious. I am going to get serious this year on planting. because my mother, will you have enough for us? Yes, yes, I will have enough for them. I will have enough for my neighbors. I'm going to get a lot of stuff planted. So in case they're talking food shortage and we won't see it until September, that's what they're talking. Is it true? The more and more research I do says it could be. It doesn't mean there won't be food. There will be, I believe, but I believe the prices could be from something you paid $1 for could be $5. We already know the totes have gone from $4.98 to $6.98. You can catch them on sale sometimes. In fact, I found that there's a store that's got them for $3.98 right now, and Gary told me to get some. He has some uses for them, and I don't think they have numbers, but we're not going to worry about it because it's going to be more of a cover, and it's not going to have food in it, and he doesn't want to waste using one of these that are marked to 5, and the other ones I saw were not marked, so I'm going to go back and get those. I want to be prepared. There's nothing wrong with being prepared. When everything started now with the pandemic, you know, when it started a couple years ago, I was actually ready. I had extra food, rice and beans and different things here, and I didn't have to go to the grocery store during lockdown. Yes, you could go to the grocery store and there were different things you could do, but I didn't need to. I have not been in a big grocery store in over 2 years. I've gone to a few small ones, little ones. You know, I went to Aldi's we have out here, but I have not been into a big grocery store for a couple reasons. I've been checking the paper and the ads, and their prices are simply too high. And I don't need to. So I can order what I need or go to the small grocery store, and then we eat out of our yard. So far, so good. Sugar, we have ordered that online, had it delivered. I think Gary went to Sam's Club once and picked up, what did he pick up? 200 or 300 pounds of sugar. I wanted CNH sugar to make sure that they don't run out of that. So I'm good on sugar in case there's a shortage or in case if the price goes up. I just want to be ready. The main thing with growing something, and this is what I really want to impress on everybody, is there's nothing better than growing something of your own. Even if it's just one piece of celery that you want to use and add to something, that's got enzymes in it. That's got nutrients in it. That's got what your body needs. Everything. What you need to break down to eat your food, to digest your food, is in that plant. Some things from the store do not have it. They look beautiful, but they may not have what you actually need. And that's what's kind of frightening, because they've been irradiated, they've been treated. They're designed to be able to last on the shelf. I talk about this all the time. If something you buy can sit for weeks and look as good as new, well, then you don't have the enzymes from that particular food to break down in your body, because you're picking up from that too. So that's why if you ate something that doesn't have the enzymes, but you are adding enzymes from something you grew, parsley, a few little things. Like somebody wrote out their bedroom window. She was so excited to be able to eat lettuce, a salad that she grew on a windowsill out her bedroom window. That is fabulous. Your body will love you for it. We need to do something so we can stay as healthy as possible and keep our immune system up. And why not grow something? So little things like that. So I am going to grow. Look at the birds. Aren't they adorable? Aren't they cute? They're eating the bird cage. Why are they in a bird cage? Well, no hawk or anything can get them. And they can go in and out of the doors and go between the wire. They can go underneath. So the thing is, you want to be able to grow something to get the enzymes that you need for your body. So many of us don't have it. So we're going to add it in. So I'm going to grow for that reason. I'm going to experiment with different things. I'm now trying different types of containers to grow in. Like the cardboard boxes are doing wonderful. They're absolutely doing wonderful. Have an issue right now with a squirrel, but I'm going to cover it. I did cover it with tulle, but I have to change the tulle because plants really don't like being touched. Now, it sounds odd. You say, what? What do you mean they don't like being touched? Well, the reason they don't like being touched is because, especially certain plants, let's say certain plants, if the squash is being touched, the leaves feel it. It's like, oh, I must be growing in the wrong direction. Let's try to do something else. Let's wait a minute, think about it. This is why I don't like having netting over plants, especially when they're in the middle of growing, because they think, this is my logical thought to it, they think they're going in the wrong direction. So they want to turn it. Think of it, when you turn a plant over, what does it do? It bends to go in the right direction. Well, if you're covering the plant, even with something as light as tulle, and they're young. I'm not talking about older plants. You can drape things on older plants, but young plants are vigorous. They want to grow, and they want to grow in the right direction, and they want to keep going. It may slow them down. That's my thought. So I need to get the tulle upright where it's barely touching, not laying on top. So I'm going to get that this week, probably get that done. So that's basically it. I wanted to talk about it. All in all, I'm very pleased with everything. I have taken on too much. No. No, but I want to get things done. I get kind of anxious. I want to finish up the buckets here and get all this done. That's all I have to do here. My pizza garden's doing fantastic. I'm trying to save the peppers from last year, and I'm surprised that they're actually doing really, really well. Look, they're throwing flowers. I don't know if there's a little tiny pepper. You know? And then this one I actually moved, so I'm hoping that's going to be okay. Yeah, well, he's throwing flowers. It was kind of all bunched up in the front, so I moved him. And then put my thyme here. I don't do well with thyme. So I left the thyme in the container that I bought it in. Should I leave it in the container? Probably not. Why should I not leave it in the container? I don't see a warning label. You'll be surprised. Let me see if there's, some of them have warning labels. Let me see if this one does. No. Sometimes you see a warning label on it, and it says, oh, due to whatever, you know, there could be something in it that's not good. It's two things it could be. One of them is the container may not be good plastic. I don't see a warning label on this one. And sometimes it's the fertilizer they use. You can't get away from that. Now, somebody at the store, not going to get into too many details, told me that it takes 6 months to get that fertilizer out of there. I don't know if that's true. So let me see if this one won't have a warning label because I took it and put it in my own container. That's a patio tomato. So I don't know for sure if that is true at all. 6 months sounds like a far-fetched, because if they're such little plants, they have to grow. But, it's good to be aware of it. But I did leave that one in there. I use such a small amount of time. I only use it when I'm making pizza, so I'm not going to worry about it. Every time I move them, it seems like I have a problem with thyme. And that's been doing good. I had it on the bottom. I ended up putting walking onions there and moving the thyme up. And I decided, you know what? This isn't the container it came in. Never mind. This is my container. This was in a tiny container, and I moved it, and then I put the label in here. So it is not the container it came in. So I put it up there, and it's doing really, really good. It'll get shaded a little bit by the peppers once they grow. I've got 2 basil growing in here. Green and purple came up. I'm still trying to trim them out. And then this is my rosemary, again planted in my own container, and it's rooted. I rooted it myself. The bottom there is a pepper plant. I don't think it's going to make it, but it came out of my chair garden. There's still a basil down there, and then this is the sage that's from the 99-cent store from a couple years ago already, doing quite well, and I'm trimming it back. So I'm really happy with that. So I want to get that set up there and then decide what will take a little more shade. Tomatoes can be forgiving. I've had actually tomatoes grow in full shade. They can sometimes just do well with reflective light. So I'm very anxious to get stuff done. I want to get a lot growing. I want to freeze a lot, like tomatoes. That's why I want to grow a lot of small tomatoes this year and freeze a lot in case something does happen and tomatoes are $5 a pound. I'll have plenty of my own. And we're fortunate enough that a lot of times we can grow. Now, you can design microclimates. Keep that in mind. I think we all can do microclimates. You can fold different things. You can put things that, let's say, collect warmth. You could pile cement bricks or blocks near something, and cement will absorb the sunlight, and then you can end up having things grow longer just because there's a little bit of warmth. Raised beds like this, these are considered small raised beds. You know how I love my totes. We're not going to get into that today. But by loading them up with leaves, that you can get all kinds of leaves, you can load them up, and that creates the smallest amount of warmth. Even 1 or 2 degrees is great. It will really help the roots. I have discovered that a lot of these plants that we grow, they judge the temperature by approximately 4 inches up from the soil. I can't, it's hard to explain, but I've been really working with this and understanding plants. So when their trunk, let's walk over here for a minute. Let's see if we can find, so let's talk here. If you can protect this much of the trunk, it doesn't matter what's up on top. It sounds a little odd, but it works. I'm still working with it, and I'll get more on that later on. But just by protecting that, it sends a message to the plant. So I think there's a lot of times you can pack ice around something if you need to give it a, some chill factor. You could do the same thing with warmth. You can protect it. Because I've got things that grew all winter long that should not have grown. And one was basil. By putting a plastic cup around the bottom and just encircling the bottom part of the trunk of the basil grew all year. So we'll talk more about that. Think about things, observe your garden. And sometimes that's what I have to do. I have to think about things and then think, I'm going to try this. And you know what? A lot of them work. Sometimes they don't, but a lot of them work. Even grow bags. Let's touch on that for a minute. Grow bags here in Southern California, for me, I don't think are going to do that well because they dry so quickly. This plant is a zucchini. It's doing really well. That one, I had some cucumbers in there. They were dying, so I got them out. They're doing really good now. I did put in another zucchini, but I think there might be something else I could do that's much better than that. What I'm doing is peppers. We'll see how it goes. I think peppers are going to be fantastic. Why? Because peppers don't mind getting dry. A lot of times when a pepper plant starts to dry out, it actually produces more peppers. It gets stressed and it will produce more flowers. So right now I have taken a grow bag. I'll show you real quick and we'll get into this full details, exactly how I packed it and what I did. And I think the peppers are going to do fantastic in a grow bag. So I'm going to move the celery later, but I left it just to have things. Well, this was here and I moved things around. See how good this has been doing? This is years old already. This is 2.5, I think is it going on 2.5 years old. That's been doing fantastic. It hugs the wall and look at this. The roots haven't even left and that's a little 1.5, 2 gallon pot. So it has been doing really well and now it's full of flowers. And if it dries a little, see they start black, then they go green, black. Let me see. See, they were green. Now they're going black. This is the red cobra. And then when they're ready, they'll turn red. You can eat them at any stage, peppers. So this is going to be a different type of pepper. This is just a chili pepper. And I thought about it. I analyzed it. Well, what's going to grow good for me in grow bags? Peppers. They don't mind. They dry out. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to produce. So I put 2 pepper plants in there. I figured if 1 pepper plant can do that well in that little pot for years now, I most certainly can put 2 in there. So we'll come back and see it on the garden tour. I'll do something else on grow bags soon. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, as I was saying. I have to stake that. What I'm going to do is stake it. It's in this 5-gallon bucket. That's a pretty big purple tree color. Normally the leaves would be far bigger than this. It got unstaked. But it's too tight. It's probably root bound. It's okay because every single one of this is a perfect cutting. But this is what I was saying. The plant is going to turn. It's turning towards the sunlight. See how it's curved? That's what it's doing. It's curving towards the sunlight. That's why I got to get this right away up. And that's what I was saying with plants. So when you cover them with tulle, they think they're doing something wrong. They're going in the wrong direction. So they're anxious to turn. So that's it. So just kind of think about your plants. Make gardening enjoyable. Some of you said you can't afford it. Soil's too expensive. Make your own. Every leaf on this property is going to turn into soil. Every single leaf. If I miss it and it falls on the ground, it's still turning into soil. There's a lot of ways you can make soil that you don't even know you're making soil, and we can get into that too another time. But the point is, look around at Mother Nature. I'm not taking care of any of those plants up there. I am doing nothing. And all this stuff is just thriving on its own. So why do I have to spend a fortune on plants when nature has been doing such a good job long before you and I were here? With that, have a wonderful day. Think about things. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. That is last year's plant, and it's really killing me to pull that out. But I know at some point I will have to compost it. Yet I've been eating squash off of it. That was the first plant to produce zucchini for me this year.